Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
I'm so sorry, y'all, but Mama's on mute. We gonna take her off mute just in a minute. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry. Hey, y'all, we can't hear not one word she said yet. Thank you. Bye.
Peace, love, and soul. Now I don't know if we can say that. So today we got a special guest in the house. He is a community strategist, an educator, a facilitator committed to advancing cooperative governance, economic justice, and mutual aid networks. Please put your hands together as we bring to the stage Baba Mike Tekh Strode. Go crazy.
Hey.
Hey, Baba Mike, how you feeling today?
I am doing very, very well. I'm delighted to be on Mama Africa's show, which, I've heard great things about.
I say. So, Baba Mike, I love you. We met many moons ago at the Healers of Color retreat. Is that what we first met, or did we meet at the might have been at the Healthy Food Hub?
I'm sure there was the encounters at the Healthy Food Hub, and then later on into the Healers of Color universe.
Yes. You know what was so captivating about you, Baba Mike, was you had the moves like Jagger. So you are all these wonderful things, Baba Mike. But when I went on your Facebook page, the one thing that it said, if you was nothing else, that you were a dancer, that you were a lover of music.
Yes.
What does, like, when I look at you when you dancing, it feels like you catching the Holy Ghost or something.
Okay.
How would you describe how you feel when you're on the dance floor?
Yeah. So, it wasn't always that way, right? If I go back to freshman year of high school, 1994, Alfred Bonnable in Kenner, Louisiana. I always felt a little awkward, but freshman to sophomore year, the homecoming dance, at that time, the sort of old tune stroking, always was coming on, and Macarena was still, in vogue. But ultimately, like, those are things that like got me into the movement, the physical movement. And then of course down south, we got bounce music. And then later on, moving to Chicago, returning to Chicago, rather. I was born here and raised there in Louisiana. How the house music scene reminded me of elements of the brass band scene, reminded me of the bounce music scene. And so there was just a level of freedom that I experienced when I went to the dance floor, and was reciprocated by dance partners, on the scene. And ultimately, like, what I feel is that I'm trying to examine my relationship to space and to people through movement. And that's effectively what I'm doing on the dance floor. I'm having different conversations, and I'm enjoying these different conversations. So ultimately, what I feel is that I'm deeper in relationship to people when I've moved next to them.
Okay. And you do move and you engage, and anybody that dares to stand next and engage with Baba Mike is in for a treat. That is for sure. Now, I see this picture a lot on your page. Mm-hmm. What's going on here? Please talk about this.
Absolutely. So this is this is the dance partner. Like, maybe I got like other dance partners, but this is the dance partner, my dance partner, Erica Jarvis.
She definitely was I saw her.
Absolutely. Yeah. We met on the house music scene Man, in fact, we just wrote a bio for each other because we're doing this show with Art Chat Daddy Sims. But 10 years. We've been dancing together for about 10 years. And I mean, maybe Betty's Blue Star, I don't know, it was some club. I mean, but effectively we had a jam, we connected, there was magnetism, and eventually we started doing this this act, or rather I expanded on the act she was already doing. She does Josephine Baker, and I expanded on that act by showing up as Josephine Baker's dance partner, Joe Alex. And so this is just a move that we built for the first show that we did, and we have just continued to like elaborate and expand on that show over time. So me and Erica doing Josephine Baker and Joe Alex.
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. You had a few other ones, but this one is one of my personal favorites, so I brought it on. I do want to get just one little clip. I had to open up with the dancing because I feel like at the end of the day, all these other things is beautiful, but I feel like Baba Mike is definitely all about the energy of expressing yourself through dance.
Yes.
We're gonna play this video real quick of you dancing. Let's see if we can get it up here. Okay, what's going on with the video? Give me 1 second, Baba Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not letting me do it. We probably had to wait for Mama to do it. Let's see, one more time. All right, I ain't gonna worry about it because we having technical difficulties. But we do have a clip of you dancing. Hopefully we'll get a chance to watch it before the show is over.
Mm-hmm.
But getting right into the more, technical things, I would like to talk about the Kola Nut Collaborative.
Yes.
That was one of the things when we first met at one of the Healers of Color retreats. It was a sister. Oh, that's the video. Work, baby. And see, the people don't even know, like, this was just the stuff that was going on the side. So we can see Baba Mike that you definitely got the moves, and that was definitely a real chill, laid back version of Baba Mike. Because I'll be watching them, and if you see your eyes and your face and feel the energy of what's going on, it's take you to another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the Kola Nut Collaborative, do you mind speaking to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, the Kola Nut Collaborative is Chicago's only time-based service, labor, and skills exchange, otherwise known as a time bank. That project launched in 2017. It is a spinoff and a child, effectively a child entity of the Healthy Food Hub of Black Oak Center. It has come into existence for the exact same reason that I've been in relationship with Black Oaks for as long as I have. And ultimately, it's about this aspect of building community and building community economies, building cooperative economies. a time bank is just a way that people can use time as a type of currency to exchange skills that they might have, gifts that they might want to share, to meet their needs. It is another way to meet needs beyond financial capital, beyond dollars, beyond money. And ultimately, for me, it is the sort of transition state to the level of community resilience that is spoken about it profusely in the literature of Black Oaks and the work of Black Oaks. And an expansion of the feeling that I felt in the Healthy Food Hub every time I went there, right? You know, I mean, yeah, people came there to buy groceries, but folks
So,
were
real
doing
quick,
house
Mike,
shit,
a lot of
right?
people don't know who Healthy Food Hub is
Okay,
or who Black Oaks is.
all right, I got you.
You want to just
So,
real quick say what Black Oaks is and what the Healthy Food Hub is, as you were talking about it, because they're like, what's that?
absolutely. At the time that I met Baba Fred and Dr. J, Black Oak Center for Sustainable Resilience. Okay, I'm forgetting the full name, but Black Oak Center, it was a 40-acre campus out in Pembroke Township. Now has expanded to I think 100 acres at this point.
Wow.
But you know, effectively, it is a teaching hub, a learning hub, a training hub, a place for Black communities to learn about community resilience, about things like peak oil, about living off grid, all of these things that are more present right now, we're trying to figure out how to navigate. And the Healthy Food Hub is a project to help folks understand the larger food web, the regional food system, and the need for control of a regional food system, especially for Black communities, where food insecurity is certainly high, where we are not always necessarily getting the right type of foods that we need from our community grocery stores or whatnot. So yeah, Black Oak Center, Healthy Food Hub are those places for community resilience and food security.
Okay. So a lot of people are panicking, because dude in the office. I feel like when I first heard about time banking, of course I was sold. It makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
How could people start time banking like in their like a small community of folks? Like how would you do you have a suggestion for people who may be like in a small, like say for instance, let's just say Mama Africa's community, right? So let's say at Mama Africa's house, how would you what suggestions would you give in order for us to like start with the time banking bartering system, or like how would you help a small community of people get started with that?
Yes. So the first thing I would do is I would say, don't do what I did, right? I started with the platform. I started with the technology because I'm a geek, right? And I'm like, oh, like technology, like that's the barrier to people actually doing this. But right there in the title where it says I'm an arts and culture curator, right? It's not actually the technology. It's about the culture and it's about the behavior. So I would start with like the culture and the behavior. And to that end, one of the practices that I picked up as a part of my work around the time banking and around establishing Kola Nut Collaborative is something called the Offers and Needs Market, which I learned from an organization called Post Growth Institute, and later would become a trainer in the Offers and Needs Market training. But the Offers and Needs Market is founded on some really basic premises, right? You start with this idea of just giving people silent time to reflect. And you'll bring them into a space, you'll gather them together, you'll prepare the space for them to reflect on the things that they want to offer to one another and reflect on the things that they need from one another. And you'll take them through some successive rounds of reflection where they're writing those things down and documenting those things. And once they have those things down, you're doing some breakout spaces or sessions where you'll actually have people going around in circle and sharing. Here's one thing that I have to offer. Here's another thing that I have to offer. And effectively what you're doing is you're building a miniature time bank in the room. And once you have that established, once you have the pattern established, the behavior established, the culture established, the technology is really easy to kind of line up after that. Like there are lots of other systems on which you can actually do time bank trading. So the first thing that I recommend to folks is do that level of organizing work first. Be able to get some people in a room. Once you've got those people in a room, run an offers and needs market, do it a few different times, like, run it up to 3 times. And once you've done that, then people might actually be clamoring for you to say, we actually need to put this on a database. We actually need to have a platform for this. So that would be my recommendation if someone wants to launch a time bank. And certainly the Kola Nut Collaborative has an open platform if anyone wants to do time banking. But if they just want to learn the offers and needs market, they can certainly reach out to me, and I'm happy to support them with that.
Okay. We got Mama says she used to sell her homegrown collard greens at the Healthy Food Hub.
Absolutely. Mama Naima Latif, I remember it.
Yes. So yeah, I might have to get you out here to the shop, and I think I'm interested, Baba Mike, if you are interested in consulting on that. Speaking of consulting, I do believe that you have a consulting firm.
Yes, I mean, as an extension of my work with the Kola Nut Collaborative. So the Kola Nut Collaborative starts as this effort of me just trying to help people learn about time banking and to expand their awareness of it. But in the course of doing that, very naturally, I learned lots of things around community engagement. I learned lots of things around cooperative development. And so, as an expansion of my work around the Kola Nut Collaborative, I started Kola Community Solutions. That allows me to consult now with folks who are doing worker cooperatives, folks who are doing worker self-directed nonprofits, folks who want to build out cooperative culture models, and so it's the rubric under which I do all of my workshop and my training. But ultimately what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help people find the sort of the keys to these cultural transformations that they're trying to enact, either in their community or in their organizations, and that is another area that I'm happy to support people through.
Ashe. Is that expensive?
Here's what I'll say, right? And this is because I have operated around time banking so long, right? I value reciprocal exchanges where we value one another, right? And so, there's lots of, I've done sufficient amount pro bono and for free. And, there's some places in which I'm still happy to do that. And I've had very rewarding paid relationships and paid clients. And so I've got a good mix of both. I'm not necessarily itching for another. And every time I take on a client, I'm taking on a client because I believe in the work that they do. And so if I believe in the work that you do and I have sufficient capacity, I absolutely might work on your project for free. And if I'm feeling a little less attracted to the project, I mean, hey, you might get a higher price. I just want to be honest about that, right? But it's mostly because I'm trying to manage my capacity, and I'm trying to manage my gifts, my creativity, my desire to explore. But hey, ultimately, in relationship, many things are possible.
Yes. Well, that was leading up to my question. Do you believe in what? No, just So I wanted to share, speaking of, working over at Mama Africa's Marketplace. You have been doing the Peace Circle every third Wednesday at Mama Africa's Marketplace. Now, I thought I knew what a Peace Circle was. And then I sat down and talked to you about what a Peace Circle was. And I was opened up to a different version of what I thought Peace Circles were. And then since you've been coming here, a lot of people have started talking about it. I think it's very important to have in a community. And we're trying to build a community here at Mama Africa's Marketplace that support the community. So do you mind speaking about what a Peace Circle is and the Peace Circles that you do here at Mama Africa's Marketplace?
Certainly. And I commend you for the community that you are building. I started to first attend Peace Circles back in maybe 2018. And at the time I was going up to Rogers Park, where, the organization now called Circles and Ciphers was, facilitating the Rogers Park Community Peace Circle. And You know, that was my first initial experience with the Peace Circle idea. And what I appreciated about it was that it was a space for people to decompress, for people to share, for people to be in conversation. There were lots of things that were shared in that room in the space of confidentiality that I'm not sure that people had any other avenue to explore or to express for themselves. And hopefully they took that expansion of their mind and were able to go out into the world and find other outlets for that. But a Peace Circle is, you know, it's simply a space for a community to talk, right? You know, I want to, you know, definitely appreciate and acknowledge, you know, my therapeutic practitioners and say, you know, I mean, it ain't necessarily therapy, but it is a form of community decompression, a form of community uncovering and discovery, self-discovery, self-awareness. So, you know, the Peace Circle that as designed here is largely modeled after the Rogers Park Community Peace Circle, where there's a space of 2 hours. And in that space of 2 hours, we might be starting with some sort of check-in. So, you know, there's some sort of, you know, creative check-in question that we're prompting people with to get their minds going. We're going into a second layer where we might go a little bit of a layer deeper, you know, and just ask people something like, you know, what's a value that you've held since childhood that's really important to you now, or something like that. We might do some sort of creative activity. So there might be some drawing or some movement that might be involved in that. And then, you know, finally, then we might go to a layer where we're asking people to go a little bit deeper. Like, where did that value come from? Like, when did that value first become important to you? And then finally, we're doing some sort of like, you know, closing round where we're just asking people to reflect on what they learned from the circle today. So it's meant to be an exercise in self-discovery, but it's a self-discovery that happens in community. It's not necessarily that I am leading anyone to self-discovery. In fact, everybody on that circle is a keeper of the circle. And ultimately we're holding each other's confidence, we're holding each other's stories, and we're taking lots of lessons and lots of learnings from what we share with each other.
Ashe. I'm definitely looking forward to learning from you, um, holding it down, you know, and then hopefully allowing it to grow and support the community here. You know, we need a lot of therapy and spaces where we can talk and heal. And it sounds like a very safe space for that. So thank you for even bringing that to the space. I didn't even know, you know, it was something that we needed, but it's definitely something that we need. It's definitely something that's valued. So thank you so much for committing every third Wednesday. You have been here going strong. Baba Mike bring the gadgets. He have instruments, cards, books, crayons, markers, pens, whatever you need to go deep and to feel comfortable and to express yourself. He makes a great space for that. So thank you so much, Baba
Yeah,
Mike.
and one other thing I'll say about that is just, I mean, why is this important? Why is this specific circle important to me? Right? Again, Roger, I live in Jeffrey Manor. Rogers Park is an hour and a half away from me, and I was like, I really want this to happen on the South Side. And while there have been circles that have come and gone, a steady, stable community that's expansive has been just really challenging for me to find. And I need this as much for myself as I need this for, you know, as I want to have it for others. So ultimately, this is a space that I ultimately want to be an institution that can live on and move around the community. And so, yeah, that's why it's important.
So again, thank you. I'm honored to be the place that you chose to do that at, and to be able to have a space, Mama Africa's, to be able to provide those types of things to the community. I'm also grateful for the space for that as well. We have to take a quick commercial break. After these messages, we'll be right.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
And we're back. Thank you for that brief intermission. No. Yeah, I just wanted to again say thank you so much for allowing us to hold space and for trusting or seeing the vision of that being here at Mama Africa's Marketplace. So hopefully that people will hear about our third Wednesday Peace Circle, and folks can come out. Definitely going to be sharing that more with on the page with the young people, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the community, and there's very few places, like you were saying, where we can come together and kind of speak on some of those issues that's safe, and like kind of non-judgmental, and kind of I want to say a soft, welcoming, warm environment. And I believe that you you've done a great job in trying to make sure that the space feels that way. So yes, thank you, and definitely look forward to more of the peace circles and it growing and being something that helps heal our community, especially like I said earlier. Everybody's scrambling about these times that we're in, and this is a good place to do that. I hear a little feedback. Give me a second. Okay. So I have another question for you, Baba Mike. Now we got these outside of all those beautiful things that you were doing, you managed to hold on. Wait a minute, Mama. There we go.
Oh man,
Mike, what's going on?
Man, yes, that is my wonderful, wonderful daughter, Jakaya, born in 2002, so all the way up 22 years later at this stage. But that was a photo. Wait, let's see. I want to say that was from my mother's wedding. Yeah. So yeah, that was from my mother's wedding back in that year. But yeah, Jakaya arrived in 2002, changed my life, changed the course of things for me, and has continued to evolve and change the course of things for me, on into moving to a space of going away to college, coming back from college, making decisions to get married, and then producing these two beautiful grandbabies on the screen, Zuri and Ezra. So yeah, Jakaya continues to evolve my thinking, continues to be a place of responsibility for me, a different type of responsibility in adulthood, right? Adults with children got boundaries, you know what I'm saying? And and so ultimately it's a site of a lot of learning and just an important source of joy for me. And this photo is from they've just moved from Inglewood over to Washington Park. And I've informed them that, I will be accidentally bike riding through the neighborhood and just happen to be around, and knock on the door. So yeah, I'm overjoyed.
Ashe, I know, people talk a lot about, fathers, Black fathers. You have always been, I would like to say, a good father, a great father. Could you talk a little bit about some of your challenges with being a father, and like how did you break through some of those things in dealing with raising a teenage daughter?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to be, I'm very honest about my challenges as a father, and very honest to the point of saying, like, those first 5 years were hard, right? Like, as much as people have known Jakaya to be around me at the Healthy Food Hub, or known me to be Cheer Baba at Shabazz and Shangalia Technique Gyms, you know, I mean, I wasn't it as present in those first 5 years as I wanted to be, right? And you know, I mean, there was largely like, you know, sort of me and my co-parent trying to find our dynamic. And so like that's the first lesson that I would say, like, yo, I mean, the co-parenting relationship is a unique and specific dynamic, and you have to treat it as a relationship that you care about. Even if y'all at odds, right? Like, I mean, especially if y'all at odds, right? Treat it as a relationship that to be managed and to be tended to and to care for, and ultimately that translates to the relationship that you then have with your child. Like we found our dynamic, you know, after those you know, I mean, I would say after the first 3 years, right? You know, I mean, we figured it out, right? You know, as we were trying to, you know, reconcile with the fact that we were no longer together, or at least maybe I was trying. I'm gonna own my stuff. Like I was reconciling with the fact that we are no longer together, right? And ultimately, once you get past that, yo, I mean, we took trips together, like we were going off to the cheer competitions, you know what I mean, and just, you know, rooming, and like it worked out, right? And because of that relationship worked out, my relationship with Jakaya worked out, you know, and just I was able to be present and there and invested and engaged, and you know, and our respective partners also had that understanding. Like I'm gonna pop up at the house sometimes, you know what I mean, and you just gonna say, hey, what's up? And I'm gonna go back to Jakaya's room, and you know, we're gonna chat, and I'm gonna leave, you know. And so ultimately, like that's maybe the biggest lesson for me around fatherhood. And it's actually maybe a big lesson that I bring into my organizational culture work, into my conflict transformation work. All of it is about the management of interpersonal relationships. And for years, me and my co-parent, Aset, you know, have talked about like, we should have a panel. We should write a book. People want us to talk about co-parenting, even though we're 22 years on in that journey. And I mean, we're into our respective, you know, post-adult lives, you know, at this stage. So,
I mean, I think it's very important. That's why I wanted to mention it, because of course, it's a lot of situations out here where folks are co-parenting. And a lot of situations where folks aren't co-parenting because they don't know how to co-parent or how to gain access or support to, you know, be able to work that out. So yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to ask. So yes, if you guys are thinking about doing it, I think it's very important in our community as well. Even if it's like a support group or something, but definitely you are a very supportive father. I know that you with the cheers and you was there and everything. So thank you for being a strong role model and father. I appreciate you, and not only for your daughter, but for the community. Baba Mike, we got many videos of Baba Mike dancing with the children, you know, playing with the young folks. I just saw a video of you and Ayo the other day on there dancing somewhere. So thank you for, you know, not only, like I said, being a father figure for your daughter, but also for the community, because we do need more strong Black role models in our community. So thank you for that, Baba Mike. Now, speaking of strong and Black, we got a beautiful picture. Why is these pictures cutting up today? Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. All right, there we go. Now, what is going on here, Baba Mike?
Oh man, the Sankofa Rites of Passage with Dr. Pamela Phoenix. So I have recently gone through the full, 10 weeks and, the final ceremony of the Sankofa Rites of Passage. The Sankofa Rites of Passage is meant to have you deal with your stuff, right? Deal with your old stuff, deal with some of the new stuff you see coming up. But the most important assignment that's a part of that is writing your life story through the 7 passages of life, from the year before you were born up through beyond 66 years old, right? And the invitation there is to talk to people in your life, to understand like what was going on through those 7 passages, dig into some of the memories that you have forgotten or suppressed, or just, needed a connecting story to reconnect to. And then what you learn from that, is there's a lot of things that I had to remember the origin of in order that I could actually uproot them and say, actually, I don't think that I want to be in that space anymore, and I'm going to be in a different space. And this Sankofa ceremony is just, the kind of closure of that door, and just saying, like, we are new people. We are someone else, right? I received the name Quao, Pathfinder, a child born on a Thursday, as a part of that initiation ritual. And, also was able to kind of speak to both some of the really key values that are important to me, and also the Adinkra symbols that are important to me, which, of no surprise, Besasaka, the Kola Nut, is one of them, along with Inserawa, the Cowries. Shout out to Chinyere Ote and Cowrie Collective, and then Inkaruma Kese, Big Okro, so Kola Nuts for radical hospitality, Cowries for deep abundance and community, and then Big Okro for greatness and superiority, which is mostly about the greatness of our people, the greatness of community, the greatness of us working together. And so those were the things that I picked up in that ceremony, and I was able to also in that ceremony share the gift that I'm taking up now, which is storytelling. I've been a 2-time attendee at the National Association of Black Storytellers Festival and Conference. And, ultimately, I'm learning more about Black storytelling as a specific art, that is for our community, right? Which is about folklore, which is about, sort of our personal narrative and our real-time storytelling, which is about movement, which is about dance, which is about characters. And so ultimately, that's another thing that I was able to share as a part of that ceremony.
Ashay, I did see you a little clip of you with a stick, and you was talking about something. So I mean, I don't know if this is too much to ask, but could you give us like a 3-minute breakdown snippet of a storytelling?
Certainly.
Let's go.
This is maybe the miniature version of the head tree, right? Let me tell you about the head tree. Do you know about this man that had a tree growing out of his head? Okay. So man wakes up one day and he starts to tap on his head, and he's like, what is that? What is happening up here? Right. And, he looks at his wife and he says, what do you see? And she says, there's a tree growing out of your head. And this man is like, oh my God, there's a tree growing out of my head. Can't you cut it out? Can't you get some scissors? Can't you get an axe or something? And she's like, you fool, you will bleed to death. Why don't you go to that root woman on the side of the mountain, and she can help you with that tree? Man has to traipse through the village. He's getting pointed at by onlookers and people staring, and they're saying like, oh, look at that man with that tree on his head. But he makes it through the stairs, and he finally gets to the root woman, and the root woman says, well, my mama told me that you must have done something really bad to have a tree growing out of your head. And the man's like, what? That's not me. That's not my style. And she's like, well, you must have been planning to do something bad. And so she says, here, take this ointment, apply it to your head once a day for 5 days, that tree will fall off. And the man says, oh, thank you so very much. So he heads home. He applies the ointment to his head. The tree falls off. And, but what he owed that woman something in relationship. She said that he owed him 5 of his finest cows. And when it came time to pay, that man said, biddy on that old woman. I don't know her no cows. And so ultimately that tree starts to come back. And the man's like, oh my God, the tree is back. He goes to the root woman and he says, the tree didn't come back. And she say, I told you was going to do something bad. Yeah, I'm going to take you up again. But now you owe me 10 cows. And the man goes, he takes the ointment. He says, okay. Puts the ointment on his head, sends the woman her 10 cows. Tree never returns. And Baba Amir of the Cleveland Association of Black Storytellers told me to tell you, do what you say you gonna do, because you might not grow a tree from your head, but something just as bad could happen.
Ashay, look at that. Not only a story, but wisdom. Some wisdom. Come on now, Baba Mike. Yes, sir. That was a beautiful story, which kind of is, I've been looking, you got it on here, so I'm asking. What do we have here in the corner behind you?
Well, in the corner behind me, we have my developing altar. Now, I've gotten lots of feedback on different ways to approach my altar building, different things that I've put there that, folks were like, well, you maybe should move that one away. We shouldn't have no current people over there if you're going to have ancestors in that corner. And so, I've gotten wisdom, but ultimately this started developing as a space for me to sit, to reflect, to give honor, to remember. And there's some totems, there's some items there that are important to me that, you know, I've gathered over years and over time. You know, one of the most important is my grandma Kathy's gold tooth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's in there nice in a little box. But you know, ultimately that's what's developing, and I'm working on getting some photos from my mother and my father, you know, for some of the lineage, and so that's what that will be. That is my ancestor corner. You know, yeah, where I want to honor those things.
So I think it's funny, because this also, you know, Mama Africa's We're a Spiritual House. A lot of people like to say, well, this is not right and that's not right. It's an altar that you made from your heart for your people. You know what I mean? So it's right. And as it develops and grows and changes into things that it's supposed to be, then that's fine. But exactly what it have, I mean, it's beautiful. It definitely caught my eye. It's definitely speaking. So everything that you have there and the space that you put there is, you know, very beautiful. So thank you for sharing that with me. I had to ask because it was right there.
Absolutely.
And another thing you have, of course, we got all these books.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know, my library is really important to me, specifically, right? You know, I mean, I have what I call an irrational fear, right? You know, the irrational fear is that I don't have anybody in my family with Alzheimer's or dementia, but I have a very, very deep fear of forgetting things, right? You know, in the future, right? And so ultimately, it's because my ideas are immensely important to me. Like, I'm just like, I feel like I am the substance of these ideas and these thoughts that I have in my head. And so these books are just a manifestation of that. Like, I'm just deeply curious about subjects of all sorts. I've got books up here, you know, about the Nile Valley. I've got books up here about management. I've got books up here about trust, you know, and circle keeping, just a range of different topics. And ultimately, I'm not going to say that I read all these books. Like, I just want to be honest. Like, I have touched some of these books and I've read 10 pages and I put it back on the shelf. But I am in a practice, your daily practice of actually sitting down and reading and completing, you know, books, you know, over the course of life. And ultimately, it's because it's feeding this voracious curiosity that I have to understand a multitude of different things, you know, so.
yeah, I have not seen, but have heard about this beautiful collection of decks that you have.
Yes.
What
Yes.
got you started in the decks, and what is your draw to decks? And tell us a little bit about your favorite deck.
Yeah. Okay. So what got me started in Dex is circle practice, right? It's both circle practice and facilitation, right? And so this idea of facilitation, of just like making things easier for groups, making it easier for groups to talk to each other. And decks just being a way, I mean, a lot of them are talking decks. So they're talking games, talking cards, you know, rapid fire storytelling. I've got the moth storytelling deck. I've got, you know, some other, you know, decks that deal with just like check-in questions and prompts. But what got me started in the decks was just this idea that sometimes people need some support in when they're coming together in groups to get into a conversation that's meaningful. I struggle with like small talk. Like, I don't do a whole lot of small talk. And so sometimes using a facilitative tool to get into a different level of conversation with the group is valuable and necessary. So yeah, I think, you know, the decks that I often bring around are the Raising Free People deck, which is about, you know, it's mostly about designing your unschooling journey as a parent, but also the questions that are posed in that deck are really about how can I liberate my thinking in other ways? You know, what is the design that's needed for me to actually grow and learn as a person? And so that's a really important deck for me. The Building Utopia deck, you know, which is really about this idea of like asking questions that get us to this utopian vision that we have for ourselves and our communities. So it's a facilitative deck that can kind of walk people through a process there. Of imagining, you know, what is the future? What is the future that I'm building? What is the worldview that I'm building from? And what is the world building activity and exercise that I'm carrying out? The Yeah, and then there's another deck. I think I'll probably also, so maybe I'll cite the three, right? You know, the talked about the Building Utopia deck. I talked about the Moth Storytelling deck, and then I'll talk about the and the Raising Free People deck, and then I'll finally just talk about the polyamory deck. You know, now you know, not everybody's polyamorous. I'm certainly not polyamorous, right? You know, I mean, I love a lot of people, but you know, I mean, I am in a relationship with one person, and I appreciate and value. Love you, Sona. And you know, but the polyamory deck is actually about asking the types of questions that get people to an understanding of what type of relationship they want with the people in their lives. And you know, I was talking to friend Sia last night, and one of the things that, you know, me and Sia were chatting about was that, you know, we're like, look, people need to be more intentional about friendships, even, right? You know, we're very intentional about like choosing an intimate partner because that's a specific type of partnership. But, you know, we're kind of loose about our friendships, and, you know, we don't always maintain them or tend to them or actually invest time in them. And actually being in a conversation with a friend about what type of friendship is this? What are the boundaries that we have with each other? What are the ways that you can call on me if you need me? And that polyamory deck actually invites people to ask questions of that nature of all of their relationships. So
that's another important thing that we need in our communities, those types of conversations.
Yeah.
So yes, and of course I do love me some Sia as well. I did see y'all on the Facebook dancing in that video. I had too.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is very important to make sure that we have those types of conversations. So I didn't even realize, you know, how valuable decks were. So you have enlightened me on so many things, Baba Mike. I'm also still very much so waiting on my dance lessons and for you to usher out of me the hidden dancer within. But yeah, so I mean, we are trying to get you here and bring some of those decks. You do bring your decks to the Peace Circle.
Yes.
But just to know a little bit more about those decks, I'm definitely excited about hopefully having you with some of those decks in the shop. I would like to definitely experience some of those things. It sounds awesome. So thank you for sharing that. Now we got one more little thing coming here. Now what's going on here, Baba Mike?
What was that? Was that the I don't, you know, what was I doing at ETA?
Okay, I thought you was up there storytelling. I'm like, come on, Baba Mike, you at the ETA.
I don't remember what that. I mean, it was a party. It was probably a party. You know, I mean, what you see on my back is my bag.
This look like a party,
right? So I mean, yeah, I'm. You know, look, if you're on the house scene, you'll see me on the house scene. I'm just saying. So if you're coming to Chicago and you're coming to house music dance, you probably will see me out there. But yeah, I mean, I bring my instruments everywhere I go in terms of the house scene. That's another facilitative tool, right? You know, so in addition to dancing on the house scene, I'm playing my claves, I'm playing my tambourines, I'm playing my bells and my blocks. And, you know, I got into that largely because one day DJ Cordell Johnson was playing the claves in the booth at Excursions at Subterranean. And, you know, I mean, I saw him like kind of trying to mix between these claves and then DJ and then the clave. I was like, let me see them claves. And I played the claves and I loved it that day. And I have just grown my instrument collection ever since. So, you know, whenever you see me out here dancing on the scene, I'm probably playing an instrument. And certainly Dwayne Powell is, you know, a recipient of many of my instrumental solos. You know, I know his cuts and his tracks and I know where his breakdowns are. And I appreciate the conversation that I'm in, not only with the dancers, but with the DJs. And I try to respect and honor those relationships as well, too.
Yeah, I have definitely seen. I mean, I'm not going to lie. My first time experiencing somebody bust out the instruments at the club, I was just like, okay, another instrument. I mean, you came with the tambourines, you got the shakers, you got the click clackers. You coming with whatever it is that you need to bring to be able to engage that energy. It's a beautiful thing to see you on the dance floor. The little video we showed definitely did not show you justice, did not show a third of the intensity that you bring to the dance floor. So I just definitely wanted to point that out. But what do we have here?
Oh, so that was when I was a member of the Woodlawn Community Garden, and I had grown some radishes one year, and you know, I just pulled them out the ground, and I was sniffing and taking photos, and rinsing them off and eating them right there in the garden. So yeah,
Passion.
I love to put my hands in the earth. I don't necessarily do it enough. I'm working on rebuilding my 4 backyard beds this season, and yeah, that's just another part of my life.
Yeah, I see a lot. Dancing, earth, community, um, fatherhood, but it seems like one of your top passions and probably what you're destined to do is to build and grow supportive, sustainable communities.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, like I tell Baba Fred all the time when I talk to him from Black Oaks, right? I'm like, look, uh, you know, I mostly stopped working with the Healthy Food Hub back in 2017 when I spun off on some of these other projects that I'm working on. But the mission never left my heart. The desire to reconvene and to build the community that I experienced at Healthy Food Hub has never left my heart. And so ultimately, I'm still trying to build on those dreams and those visions and those aspirations, and also to usher us back into sort of that space of community resilience is really, really critical and really important. It's really critical that we know about our neighbors. We know how to connect with our neighbors. We know how to convene our neighbors. We know how to organize people to strategize around challenges that we're facing in our community. And along the way, it's important that we help people build skills on gardening, build skills on growing, get fit by riding a bike, So, I mean, all of the things that I've done, Red Bike and Green, Fultonia, all of these, dancing, all of these things are about building a certain sense of community, because ultimately it's that sense of community that actually allows us to strategize, to tackle and address the challenges that we're facing. And without that sense of community, sometimes we come into a room to solve a problem and we're like, well, I don't know you. And they're like, I don't know you either. But in getting to know each other, we become better situated, better able to address these challenges together and to wrestle over the dynamics and the sort of differences we might feel about how to address different challenges.
I share Baba Mike. I've been talking to you for about 50 minutes now, and I am mind blown with the kufi that you are wearing. Brother, please tell us about this kufi. Where'd you get it?
Where did I get this kufi? Did I make this myself? No, I didn't make it myself. I got it at Mama Africa's Marketplace.
Really?
On 71st. It was crazy. I walked in that store. This kufi was just talking to me. In fact, it was 2. I got the brown one and I got the black.
Man, that kufi look good.
Kufi. Yo, this kufi. And I had to adjust to it at first, right? Because I put it on and and well, I don't know, someone might have roasted me a couple of times, but we got through it, right? It's like, yo, I don't know if you're gonna wear that kufi out with me. But I warmed her up to it, and I also warmed up to it. You did
warm up to it. You did warm up to
it. Yeah, but it's a really good headpiece. It's a really good head covering. It's comfortable, and ultimately, yeah.
Mike, you work in that kufi, man. That leather kufi is nice. I don't know what Sona talking about. It's dope, man. I appreciate it. It's fitting your skin tone so nicely and eloquently. The stitching, all of that.
Uh-oh. Somebody in the chat. I see you. We get through it.
That one at all. Right in. She might just popped in. Her energy sort of like pop in. It is
right.
So yes, I just want to compliment you on a beautiful, lovely kufi. Definitely keep rocking that kufi and keep giving shout outs to Mama Africa's Marketplace when you do. Yeah. But again, all of the beautiful things that you are doing, all of the things that you are, I didn't even know you were doing all these beautiful things. So I'm very grateful for this conversation. What does it say? Sometimes
the pace of work moves too fast to find a spare moment for reflection, but you do need to do it. I wrote a blog when I was at Open Collective Foundation, And I was talking to groups who are we were fiscally sponsoring like 600 groups that were doing education, mutual aid, social justice work around the nation. But ultimately, like when people start these groups up, they do get into a space where they're moving so fast that they don't necessarily have time to pause and slow down for reflection. And so this was me writing this blog to encourage them like, hey, I know the work is moving fast, but you do need to pause. You do need to slow down. And sometimes the thing that you're doing will fall apart. And when it does fall apart, being able to reflect on what was the mistake, what was the failure, and is it a failure of the moment or is it a failure of the project? You know, both of them are learning opportunities. So
I'll share.
Yeah.
Well, we are coming down to our farewells. Is there anything that you want to say before we start to wrap things up? Do you feel like you've said? I know you were talking about another event you had coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I probably should have put that image, you know, in the
I just thought about it right now.
It is all good. But, you know, you can find it online at offersandneeds.com/ shaping change 2025, you know, or shaping-change-2025. But yeah, the Shaping Change Facilitator Festival, it's going to be in Pilsen on March 22nd, starting at 9 a.m. The Shaping Change Facilitator Festival is an opportunity for folks who are facilitators, change makers, community organizers to get together and experience an offers and needs market, you know, experience the wonderful keynote conversation with Tony Anderson, my great sister, you know, from, you know, Sacred Keepers fame and Mindful Rant, and ultimately have like some facilitative or some informal networking space after that. So, you know, the offers and needs market, the keynote conversation, participant-led workshops, and some informal networking. And ultimately, we're trying to build the solidarity economy in Chicago through these community connections. And so this is just one more opportunity for us to get together and practice together what it would look like to live, to build, to grow into a different community space.
Ashe. So, for one, again, thank you for all that you have done and pouring into our community. Since I have met you, I have definitely seen you serving community in some capacity, working towards building better communities and pouring yourself into that. And of course, that is definitely something that's dear and close to my heart. Building strong communities, supporting, you know, supportive communities where we can thrive and love on each other. So thank you so much, Baba Mike, for all you are doing. Keep up the good work, and we are out of here. Peace.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jareth. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.